What's going on, my beautiful people? My name is Jesse Piedra, aka Don Drago, and welcome to episode 3 of the Hustle Coast podcast, where we highlight hustlers, go-getters, and high achievers. And today we have an amazingly talented guest. She is an artist, singer, entrepreneur, and the head engineer and co-owner of TMC Orlando Studios. Perfect. I give you Anastasia.
Hi, good to be here.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for coming. Appreciate it. So when we start, I always kind of like to get everybody's backstory, like where you from, how was your childhood and your upbringing like?
So I was born in the Bronx, didn't really stay there that long. My parents wanted to get us the fuck out of there. Okay. I was raised like in the military, so I moved around a lot. I lived in Germany, I lived in Utah, I lived wherever. Oh, wow. Came back to Florida, moved to PA, and that's where I kind of consider I was from. Okay. Stayed there for about 10 years, like my childhood. Made it back to Florida. Yep. And yeah, just pretty much, raised here from high school. I went to FSU. Oh, wow. Tallahassee. And that's kind of like where my love of music, I always loved music, but that's kind of where it like birthed and where I kind of like grew my entrepreneurial, roots from in Tallahassee. Is kind of where I found myself. Okay. So for you, did you really decide that you wanted to do music once you got to was it high school or college? College, I was going to study music therapy and you kind of have to pick an instrument, and my instrument was voice. So I would take lessons every single day as part of my curriculum, which was pretty cool. But I didn't get into the College of Music. And that's kind of where I was like, damn, how do I get into music? You know what I'm saying? That road didn't work for me. I don't know where I'm supposed to be going. So I ended up getting a degree in actually exercise physiology. Okay. Something completely different. Started that career and I ended up getting COVID. This was peak COVID. Oh, wow. And I was out for 2 weeks. I had just got hired at this new job and they let me go. But I was making beats on the job. I worked from home. So I didn't have to come in. But that's kind of where I was like, damn, this is really not what I want to do. Right. And I was like, fuck it. I just got an internship at a local studio, and that's kind of where it started for me. Oh, wow. Very cool. Mm-hmm. So when you talk about your beat making, who did you teach yourself or? I don't make beats. Oh, okay. I don't make beats, but that's how I got my foot in the door in regards to music. I was like, I want to be a producer. Okay. No. It just doesn't come easy to me. I mix beats all the time, but right. Yeah, no. Right. Absolutely. Yeah, I know I've recorded at your studio multiple times. Yeah. And yeah, you definitely know what you're doing. So appreciate it.
That's for sure. You guys have a great studio.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. And yeah, that's kind of leading me into the next question of, obviously we know kind of when you started wanting to be in music. Yeah. But when you were younger, did you ever have a specific time where you remember falling in love with music? Probably not a specific memory. It's kind of always been a part of me. Okay. I was always singing, always listening to music. That's kind of I'm a very introverted person. So making playlists and just listening to music, and that's kind of what I do. Right. When I'm not working. So it's just kind of always been a part of me. And also my grandparents were in music as well. They came to this country on a work visa, oh, wow. For they were in a band. So my grandpa, he plays the guitar, and does congas and all that. Very Dominican, very off the island. But cool. It's always been a part of me. So. Okay, it's kind of in your blood.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool. I found that a lot of really talented people that I've met that are really good at music. Yeah. At least a lot of them, you look back at their ancestry, and there was always somebody who was kind of in it.
Yeah. And then my aunt. She sang when she was younger. Actually, fun fact, I don't know if I should even say this, but who was it? I think my great-grandpa, somebody in my family was part of Trujillo's band. Trujillo was, I don't know, he was the leader in DR. Oh, wow. Not a good person, though. Not a good person. But that's kind of how far back my music roots trace. Wow. So I think that's pretty cool.
That is very cool. Yeah. Very cool. Okay. And do you remember the first song, talking about you as an artist here, because again, we want to talk about that before we get to the engineer and you being a business owner. But do you remember the first song you ever recorded?
Yeah, I do. Yeah? Yeah. It was actually 2021. Oh, Okay. 2020. I was with my boy JD. Okay. But I went over to his house. He had like a little setup, and I didn't know anything about engineering at that point. Like I was literally just an artist, like punching in.
Right.
But yeah, that was my first one.
Okay. And did he have like a good setup? Was it kind of?
Yeah, it was decent.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a studio, but you know, he had the shield, he had the pop filter, he had, you know, he did what he could. Home studio.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I remember like my first time recording, like I was a kid, you know, and I remember we went to like, me and my boy went to like Walmart and got like one of those like plug-in mics that people use, you know what I mean?
Yeah, the USB.
Yeah, USB mic, and like probably stole some of my mom's like pantyhose and like wrapped it around, you know what I mean? Like this is back in, I don't know, like maybe I probably recorded my first song in like 2008 or something like that. You know what I mean? Something like that. So a long time ago, but I always like to ask people because like my first time was like really like janky, you know?
Yeah, no, my first pop filter was actually like a yogurt container with like stockings, like for the mesh.
For sure. So I'm glad I'm not the only one.
Yeah, no.
All right. So what is your process for writing a new song?
I typically don't write, if I'm being honest. Okay. But lately I have been. I have to like be in that mode. Like I can't just like pop a song like out of me, which sucks because I haven't been in that mode in a little bit. But I usually just like keep the MP3 on the loop and just, you know, I'll usually get on the mic and like play with stuff. That's kind of how I write too. Like I have to, you know, hear myself and hear what it would sound like. But yeah.
Okay.
I don't typically write.
Okay. Do you feel like when the times that you have written, do you normally do the melody first?
Yeah. Just like start humming and then like it starts coming to me.
Yeah. For sure. I'm kind of the same way. Okay. Perfect. And how do you overcome creative blocks, whether it be in making a new song, whether it be in any other creative endeavor?
Creative blocks. Sometimes you need to just like step away, just like take a step back and like recharge.
Sure.
And that typically works for me.
Yeah.
Just stop. Stop thinking for a minute. Just do nothing.
For sure.
Yeah.
Have you ever had like a prolonged time where like you've been away from it for like months or like weeks?
Yeah. You know, when I was pregnant, I didn't really, I still worked, but like a lot less. Now like the business has been like very like pulling me everywhere. So I've kind of been like more focused on my engineering. But I'm planning a drop and I don't know when, but sometime next year.
It's coming.
It's coming.
Okay.
It's coming.
Awesome. Yeah. I looked at and I went and listened to some of your music that you have online.
Yeah.
And some of my favorite songs were, I think, one of a more recent song called Flying that you did with another artist.
Yeah.
I thought that was super sick.
Hell yeah.
And then Midnight in Paris, I thought was pretty dope as well.
That's everyone's favorite.
Yeah. I thought the melodies on both of those were pretty good.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. How did those songs come about?
So Midnight in Paris was actually, I was actually writing that for another artist. That never like went through, but I was like, damn, like I don't have any music recorded and like people are asking me to like songwrite for people and like I don't have any work to show people. So I was like, I booked the studio session. I think it was the same day. And I popped out, I think it was like 3-4 songs, just like freestyle. So Midnight in Paris was a freestyle. I just like punched in.
What? That's cool. Okay.
Yeah. So
I could not tell. I couldn't tell.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's like the type of, you know, business I stood on back then. Right. Now I'm more focused on engineering, but yeah, that's how that started.
Sure. And we're definitely going to get to your engineering. I have a lot of good engineering questions that I want to know, and I'm sure the people want to know as well. Do you have any before we get to that, any non-musical activities or hobbies that influence your creativity? Or things you just like to do outside of music?
Probably just spend time with my daughter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That's it.
Of course, family, definitely super important. Did you guys have a good holiday season?
Yeah.
Good. Absolutely. All right. So this is kind of giving a little advice to other artists out there. How should musicians or artists engage with their fans?
You should definitely respond to everyone, like on social medias. When people comment back. Like engagement is like very crucial, and just maintaining relationships. So like, you know, especially with the ones you already have, just like keeping that connection going and
you know, being open to forming new ones as well, because you never know what door could open to the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. So making sure to always, you know, respond to people who leave comments or, you know, that might send messages saying, hey, your stuff is really cool.
Yeah, always leave the door open for people, because you never know, like, you know, what could come of it,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
For sure. And I feel like a lot of artists and just like influencers and social media people these days, like, there's almost like a stigma where like once you get to a certain point, like you almost think you're too cool,
Yeah.
like to respond to like your comments or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, do you think that those people are kind of like almost missing out on opportunity?
Possibly. But I know you see it with like celebrities, you know, they have other people run their accounts,
Right.
you know, so they could free up more time in their schedule. It's just all part of the process. Like, definitely, I would definitely consider, you know, having some emphasis on maintaining relationships with your fans or people that engage with you, period. You know, you just never know.
Yeah, for sure. For some of the most successful artists that you've worked with or that you've, you know, seen, spent time around, like, was there anything in particular that you noticed about them that made them more successful than other people?
They had a team.
Okay.
You can't do it by yourself at the top. You can't. And especially when you have a team, it only takes one of you guys to make it. So it's like, it's easier. You have a higher chance of making it through that door with more people on your side or behind you.
Sure.
So I know there's a lot of emphasis on like the independent artist, you know, I want to get it out the mud. I want to do it by myself, but it's just not realistic. Like, you need a team so that you're not stressed out. You're not doing every single task that's on your table.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
If somebody maybe is out there on their own right now and they don't have a team and they want a team, maybe they don't necessarily have the funds to build a team.
Yeah.
Like, what are some ways that you think that they could go about, like, trying to reach out to people to try to establish a team?
I would say like attend more events, like social gatherings, like business meetup events, anything like that. You could DM people, but it's not going to read as well as like you shaking somebody's hand and like talking about their day, you know?
Right.
So I would, you know, put yourself in more positions where there's people like that think the same as you.
Sure.
Or people that you think are smarter than you. That's always a good thing. But yeah, just showing up and like showing face, I would say.
Okay, so maybe like being out and about and actually making those real in-person
Yeah, you got to like actually have a relationship with people, you know, who are in your field. So
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. So a lot of people I've heard tell artists that they need to treat their art like a business.
Yeah.
And I've heard that, and I'm sure a lot of us have heard that. You need, treat your art like a business. What does that necessarily mean?
Getting an LLC, making sure you're copywriting your songs, forming relationships with actual beat makers, like people who make beats. So you can actually have like good quality contracts, so you can actually claim all of your work.
Right.
What else? Getting all your royalties, your mechanical, if you're an artist. That's
Yep.
What else? Having a good marketing strategy, content creation. That's a business. You are a content creator.
Right.
Almost.
Yeah.
And a business. So making sure you have all your paperwork done.
Yeah, absolutely. So, so as an artist these days, you almost have to be like a content creator.
It helps. Yeah. I mean, you got to be in front of people's faces.
Right.
So
because like when it comes to marketing, and like for me, I've done some marketing myself, and it can be hard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It can definitely be hard to run ads. It can cost a lot of money to run ads. And then, talking about conversion ads, you got to see, even if this person clicks on my song and they stream it, how much money did I spend getting that conversion compared to how much I got from that stream?
Yeah.
So, and what I was getting at, and all those things you said, I 100% agree with. And I think that people need to try to do all of those things. But for me, as an artist, one of the things that I found is the bulk of the money that I've made from music has not been from streams.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I just want other artists out there to maybe be aware that there are other ways to get money other than just streaming. Streaming can be one avenue, but I think that maybe like performances, right?
Definitely.
A lot of people that I know that have really good performances, or they have bands, they do well with that. of course, merch, you know. So I think maybe trying to also not being so proud of just your art and maybe being willing to kind of like how you did, where you opened up a studio, you know, and that's really cool. And I think that people need to get that business mindset that, hey, maybe it's not all about, of course, I love my art and I want my art to be out there, but maybe this is not necessarily the way that I'm going to get paid. Now, catch 22 to that is that if you become a great influencer online, there is a lot of money to be made online.
Oh, yeah, there is.
Probably like Instagram and YouTube and all that. But, you know, at least for me, I haven't really gotten to that part yet where I feel like I'm super comfortable as an influencer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but yeah, so that sounds good. So kind of taking a little bit of a turn here, now talking about audio engineering. So what first drew you to audio engineering and what continues to inspire you in this field?
So what first drew me to it was, like I said, I wanted to be a producer. So I went to local studio in Longwood and I was like, hey, I want to be a producer. And they looked at me like, we're hiring for like audio interns, like tracking engineers. And I said, oh, okay, I'll do that. And so that's kind of how it started. Day one, I walked into it like not knowing a damn thing about engineering, like what is compression, what is EQ. But I would sit there and watch, you know, my mentors work. And like, I just thought it was so cool because like engineers really like shape the sound of what you hear.
For sure.
And like, I don't feel like that's talked about enough, if I'm being honest.
100%. And it's hard to find people who know how to engineer.
Oh, yeah.
You know? Yeah, for sure. Okay. So you kind of got your foot in the door through an internship. And do you feel like the people that were there that you were working with, like, were they really good? Do you remember you learned a lot quickly? Did it take you a long time?
So I interned for three or 4 months. I think they were good. Like I was learning stuff. Like I learned all of my fundamentals. But like just thinking back now, like I compare a lot of my old work to just to see like how far I've gotten. Comparing it back now, I'm like, damn. Like, cause before, I don't know why, but we were taught to like take out 60 hertz, like on a 2-track. I know why, which the idea was to make it louder so you could push it louder, like have more headroom. But I listened to all of my mixes like then, and it's like no ass. Like if that makes sense, like no bass, like, and it's just crazy to see kind of like how my sound has evolved since then. So
that's amazing. So it's come a long way for you.
Oh yeah, yeah. And it was a hard journey for sure because I was doing it full time. So I was every single day. I'm at the studio at 8 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Oh wow.
Doing runs, like cleaning, trying to get in the studio, and just like on YouTube, like learning. That's how I learned. I didn't go to Full Sail, so.
Right. Okay. Well, I find that a lot of people who are self-taught in a lot of ways might be able to, you know, learn things or like certain habits that might streamline the process in some cases. So that's good. You know, for me, I never went to school for anything either, and like at all really. I went to college for like a half a year, and I was like, nah, this ain't for me. You know, but you know, you can learn things obviously now with the internet and with Udemy. You know, I'll be on Udemy like for ads and everything like that. I'm like, all right, teach me how to do it. Okay. So also, when you're working in the studio, what is your process for approaching a new client, and how do you ensure that each session goes smoothly?
I kind of just let them like lead, like just so I can see like how they are as a person. Like as an engineer, I don't want to like while you're trying to figure out your sound, like this is the first time you're meeting me, I'm not gonna like stop you and be like, hey, you can do that better until I feel like I've earned your trust.
Right.
Then I'll be like, hey, like let's do that again. Da, 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 da. But usually when I'm starting a session, I'll just introduce myself and then, you know, just be there, just be the vessels.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then it usually works up to the point where I could, you know, give opinions if they want it and stuff like that. So
for sure. 100%. That's awesome. And then what is the most challenging part of being an audio engineer that most people don't realize?
Challenging. I would say, challenging. Just like, you know, I guess finding your sound and finding how you do things. Because there's a lot of tutorials on like YouTube or Mix with the Masters, things like that. But just finding how you do things and like creating the template, I think that you feel the most comfortable with. I think that might be the hardest thing. Yeah.
Okay.
That's a good question. I don't know.
No, for sure. That definitely makes sense. And do you think like AI is going to be changing the way that like people record music like in the near future?
I don't know if it'll be as good as, having a human in front of you. But I know there's like AI mastering, and I'm not really that worried about it, if I'm being honest.
Okay.
Nah.
Yeah, absolutely. And what do you do? Like, how do you master?
So mastering kind of involves like very intricate details of the song. So some mastering engineers will master the 2-track, some will like master it with stems. And pretty much you're like the final boss before the song goes out.
Right.
It's basically just quality control, loudness, dynamics. You can do EQ, final touches, and making sure that everything sounds like the same on anything. Like so your phone, the car, making sure everything's quality controlled.
Okay, sure. So the primary difference between like mixing and mastering that people might not know is maybe, and you correct me if I'm wrong, is mixing is kind of like putting effects and of course adjusting volumes and all that.
Yeah.
But mastering is making it so that it sounds the same basically everywhere that you put it. Really adjusting the volumes to amplify to make sure even if you play it in a random headphone, it sounds the same as it sounds in the car.
Yeah, so it could be affecting like tone. It could be affecting, you could use saturation. Mastering engineers are kind of looking for like specific parameters for like different streaming platforms. And they're looking at LUFS, which is like a loudness measurement. That goes into a whole like other like conversation about the loudness wars and why people do this and that.
Okay.
It's a whole field.
Okay, understood. And do you have any goals or anything as an engineer that you are working toward or that you aspire to be?
So I want that Grammy.
Okay.
Definitely.
All right. Yeah.
Definitely. I definitely want to be under the wings of a couple engineers. Yeah. I just want to be better.
For sure.
Just want to keep growing and learning.
For sure. And I think that as an engineer, like I feel like a Grammy is not that far out there. You know what I mean? It's like kind of like different. Not to say for artists that a Grammy is unattainable, but it's much harder for an artist to get a Grammy than an engineer who works with somebody who might already be established. Right?
Yeah, because you could work with a whole bunch of people.
Right.
It just takes one person.
Right.
Yeah.
For sure.
But if you're an artist, you gotta make it.
you gotta make a hit.
Yeah.
And market a hit.
Yeah. Facts.
Yeah. Okay. And what is your favorite piece of equipment or software to work with, and why?
I really like our mic. It's a Warm Audio 8000. It's the emulation of the Sony mic, which is used like on a lot of hip hop, rap, like vocals.
For sure.
It just, as soon as we put that in our booth, I was like, yeah.
It changed the game.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. One of the reasons I come to your guys' studio is for your mic. I love the Warm Audio mic. It comes out fire. So clean. Mm-hmm. So clean. So I agree with that. Okay. And what was some of the biggest challenges when you first opened up your studio?
That's a good question. Biggest challenge. I think it was just, I'm looking at him like, damn. Because when we first got there, we were fresh off of Studio 18.
Which was another local studio in Orlando?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, in Winter Park. Okay. I would say like the studio build, because when we moved in, it was just an office building. So like no like acoustical treatment, nothing like that.
Oh, wow.
So I think it was definitely it was that. Because before we actually used to have the mic where the speakers are, like out there, and the booth was a curtain. Oh, wow. So we actually built that like little divider.
Yep.
That's in between the rooms, and did the bass traps in the room too. But yeah, I would say that was the hardest part.
Very cool. Did you guys have like someone who had experience on making those types of changes, or?
So we had somebody come analyze the room. So I have like a 10-page report of like how it sounds and why it sounds like that in there. But that's a whole different like world. Right. And to really be like an acoustician, like people go to school for this type of stuff. So like I've been kind of researching how to treat that and like sound pressure waves in the room and like why certain frequencies build up where they do. So yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I know that one of the things I really liked about your guys' studios that not a lot of studios here in Orlando had going on when I first moved out here, at least, which was less than a year ago, was not a lot of studios had like an online portal to be able to actually book. And I went on a rant about this on one of my videos on my page, but basically your guys' studio had an actual portal to click on and be able to book the time.
Yeah.
Because as an artist, these other studios, and it's crazy because I guess they've been around for a long time, like they expect us every single time we want to book studio time to like call in or like send in an email, and then they say or confirm if they're available. And it's like, I don't really have that much time. Like I need to know, is this day available or is this time? So one of the things I really liked about your guys' studio was it streamlined that process. How did you guys like know to set that up? Or
I feel like that's a Coastal question.
Okay. Yeah.
He made like the whole website, everything that has to do with that. So
okay.
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Yeah, and I'm hoping at some point we can get him on the podcast as well, because I'd love to hear about, you both are co-owners.
Yeah, so he does all the marketing, like advertisement, Google ads, like all the handshaking.
Yeah, no, and that's all really important as well.
Yeah.
So hopefully at some point we can get him on the podcast as well. Okay, perfect. So how do you keep up with new audio technologies and trends?
So NAMM is actually a good convention that a lot of like audio professionals go to. I forget what it's called, like National Alliance of Music Merchants. So every year, it's at the top of the year. They do like a convention where everyone announces all of their new products. They have engineers come out, like dissect sessions and stuff like that. So that can be a good way.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, very nice. And I saw something on your guys' social media where you were doing something with Full Sail. Or maybe it was an event at Full Sail or something.
So we did Hall of Fame at Full Sail. One of our mentors, Leslie Brathwaite, he has the feedback loop.
Okay.
So we did media for him for the Hall of Fame.
Oh, very cool. How did that go?
It was fun.
Yeah?
It was fun. He was, going through mixes and songs and like giving feedback. So it was fun.
Nice. Okay. And he's kind of like one of your mentors or just friend?
Yeah. So he's actually showed love to our studio countless times. He's come through and like dissected our mixes, like come through and like just listened to in our studio, gave honest feedback and encouragement and words of advice, which is you don't see that too often in the industry.
For sure.
So, and he mixes Beyonce stuff. So,
oh wow,
yeah,
that's crazy. Okay, that's sweet. So, how do you handle the balance between being an engineer and a business owner?
Like kind of work hand in hand because, before I ever was TMC, I did my own engineering freelance. So I had my own website. I had to like market myself. I was going to different studios at that time. So I've been to a lot of the Orlando studios.
Nice.
But I think you kind of have to be able to juggle that if you want to, do music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. What do you think sets your guys' studio apart from other studios in the area?
We work hard. We work hard. Everyone in our team, like, we give 100%. And we're one-stop shop. So once you come in the door, you don't have to leave. Like we have marketing, we have video content creation. Coastal and Fob, they do music videos, they do commercials.
Wow.
Yeah, we do animations. Like whatever you need, we got it. So like, it really comes to the fact that we have a team behind us and we offer that team to people who walk through our doors. Like if you need help with royalty registration, we can do that too. Like we teach artists how to, get money in the field. So I think that's what separates us from everyone else.
Yeah, absolutely. Sounds like you guys definitely have a lot of good experience and expertise out of that studio.
Yeah, and what we don't know, we know people who do know.
Right, for sure. And those relationships are always important. Having a good network and people to ask questions, I know that saved me a lot of time.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so this podcast is designed to spotlight hustlers, go-getters, and high achievers. So I always ask this on my episodes, what do you think makes a hustler?
A hustler, you got to get it. Like, it's if I don't do it, like, you got to get it. It's sacrificing time. It's sacrificing a lot of things for the goal of one purpose. Like, sure. You know what I'm saying? It's discipline. It's
Definitely discipline is a large part of that, and knowing how to manage your time effectively.
That's good. Yeah, for sure. I agree. You know, time management, discipline, commitment, you know, willingness to do stuff when you don't want to.
Hard work, yeah.
Yeah, hard work.
Yeah,
really.
You got to be willing to like put your ego aside and like learn sometimes. Like I love learning. Like I tell people all the time, like I wouldn't mind being an intern again. Like I don't like being the most knowledgeable person in a room.
Right.
You don't grow that way.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
That's a fact. It's always good that once you, you know, feel like you're at that point to also make
you
those
have to level up.
connections.
You have to, yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Have you ever had a failure in your life that you feel like you had to overcome, whether it be in music, whether it be with the studio or just in business? How did you deal with it?
Yeah, probably when I was at FSU, when I didn't get into the College of Music, I was like, okay, what do I do now? Like, there's nothing else that I want to do with my life. Like, right. So I think just trusting the process, like, helped, you know, and that's how kind of I like overcame that. When I was little, actually, I had went to a church, and the pastor was doing like baptisms at the time, and like he was catching the word, like just shouting out people and like telling them about themselves. And he like pointed to me and said, I see you like in music, like I see you on stages. And like this was at a time where like I didn't even know what I was gonna do with my life. Wow. Like I was like 16, 17 years old, like, and to hear that and like see like how my process has gone, like nothing can stop me. Like, you know what I'm saying? So
I love that.
Just trusting the process and knowing that like you are where you're supposed to be. So
for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. That's prophecy.
Yeah.
That's prophecy. That's crazy. That's amazing. I'm really happy to hear that. And I feel like you know, like having that love, that passion, that commitment, and just like that internal knowing of this is what I want to do. I'm gonna fight for this until I get it. Like that's something not a lot of people have.
Yeah, it's been a lot of obstacles on the way, but like when you love what you do, like there's no other options. So.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. In your opinion, what's more important, preparation or taking action?
Oh.
This is
gonna be a conversation when I get off this interview. Damn. I think taking action, because we live in a very gotta go world. If you don't like take that step, somebody will beat you to it. But preparation is a very large key, because budgets, you got to make sure people are where they need to be. So I would say taking action, but preparation is a very close second.
I like that. Good answer. Good answer. Yeah, and I would agree with that, because obviously preparation is super important. You know, you want to be prepared, make sure you know what's going on. But also, there's also a lot of people out there that are super prepared, but then they don't take that last step. Yeah. It doesn't work out. Okay, perfect. So what's a dream or a goal that you haven't achieved yet?
I want to actually like make our own studio from like the ground up. I want like, you know, whole contractor plans. I want to formulate the whole studio. Yeah, that's one of my goals.
Like so actually like construct it, build it from the ground up the exact way that you want.
Mm-hmm. Because that way I can do like the acoustical treatment I want. So
sure.
Yeah,
that'd be sick. Okay, absolutely. So for this next little segment here, I'm just gonna say some words, and you just kind of tell me the first thing that comes to your mind when you hear one of these words.
Okay.
All right. So the first word is courageous.
The Cowardly Dog.
Is that Courage the Cowardly Dog? All right. That was a good show. It's kind of scary for kids.
No, it was. It was definitely scary. That one episode, what was it? The Scarecrow and the fucking...
Yeah.
Hell no. I had nightmares about that.
Okay. All right. Wisdom.
Wisdom. I just think of like a brain. I don't know.
Okay. So, or maybe like somebody who's...
like an old person, yeah.
Okay. Uncompromising.
Unwavering. It's like just staying solid on your morals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And successful.
Disciplined.
Yeah. Discipline equals success. Absolutely. All right. So this next portion is going to be, it's called We Want to Know. Mm-hmm. These are not going to be as deep of questions. It's more so just kind of for the audience to get to know you a little bit. Mm-hmm. So would you rather be rich or famous, or why?
Oh,
and why?
Definitely rich.
Rich.
I don't want people in my business. Like, I don't care for fame. I don't.
Sure.
Yeah, no. I want to be well known for my work. And I feel like that's different. But like famous, yeah, no.
Absolutely. Do you believe in aliens?
I think so.
Right?
I think so.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think
maybe
there could be. I mean, what do you think about all those drones about over New York and all that, New Jersey?
Honestly, I haven't put like too much attention to it.
Right.
It could be. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I've heard some people say that they, think it's just like, human drones.
Yeah,
like spying on
another country or something. Yeah.
Like that. Yeah. Yeah, but it's still a scary thing.
Yeah, no, for sure.
For sure. Okay. And let's see here. If you came in contact with, would you rather come in contact in the wild with a wild bear, or if you were in the water, a crocodile?
Oh, Lord. Probably a crocodile.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not winning against a bear. Yeah, no.
Yeah, no, bears are probably like, other than like a lion, is probably like the most terrifying thing to run into.
Facts.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. And so, here's one more. And then if you could go anywhere in the world on vacation, where would you go?
I want to go to Japan.
Ooh, Japan.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love sushi. So nice. I just definitely go on like a food tour in Japan.
Nice. Okay, cool. Absolutely. So in closing, do you have any shows or events coming up, or anything in particular coming up with the studio that you want to mention?
So right now we have the end of our year sale. Just hit us up. You can DM me, She's in the Mix on Instagram, or our studio, tmc.orlando, tmcorlando.com if you want to book online, like Jesse said.
Yep.
But yeah, just stay tuned. We always do events. I don't have anything that like sticks out in mind right now, but we'll probably have something soon. Yeah,
perfect. Any shout outs that you want to do, or last minute things you want to mention?
Shout out to the team. Shout out to my fiance. Shout out to y'all for continuing to book me. January will be 4 years that I've been an engineer. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah, shout out to y'all.
Absolutely. And by the way, I did want to mention that I was in your studio the other day recording some songs, and I do have one of those songs done. So at some point, I would like for you to hear it. Maybe it would be cool. Oh, yeah. But other than that, guys, I want to thank you so much for tuning in to the Hustle Coast podcast. Again, this is Anastasia. Make sure to go check her out. But it's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you guys today, and make sure to tune in to our next episode.
Peace.